Have you ever caught yourself staring at your phone long after the conversation ended? Not because there was a new message, not because they called, but because some part of you was hoping they would. You tell yourself you're done checking, done wondering, done replaying every word. And yet, there you are, opening the chat again, looking at their name, reading old messages you practically know by heart. And the thoughts start creeping in. Do they miss me? Are they thinking about me too? Was any of it real? Have they already moved on? Here's the truth most people never hear. The person who affected you deeply doesn't simply disappear from your mind, and neither do you from theirs. Because people don't obsess over who mattered least. They think about who left an emotional imprint, who changed something inside them, who became part of their daily emotional landscape. So if you're wondering whether they're thinking about you right now, this video is going to show you the signs beneath the surface, the psychology behind why it happens, and what actually causes someone to carry another person in their mind long after the moment has passed. And no, this isn't about manipulation. It's not about making someone chase you. It's about understanding what happens inside the human heart when a connection was real. You're not crazy for wondering, you're human. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why some people become unforgettable, and why someone may be thinking about you far more often than you realize. Let's get into it. Most people believe that if someone isn't reaching out, they've stopped caring. But the real truth is much deeper than that. Human beings don't process emotional attachment logically. They process it through their nervous system. And your partner's nervous system, or your ex's nervous system, is often reacting to your absence before their conscious mind even understands what's happening. That's why someone can go days, weeks, or even months without contacting you, while still thinking about you constantly. Because thinking about someone and acting on those thoughts are two very different things. Sometimes pride gets involved. Sometimes fear gets involved. Sometimes unresolved feelings become so overwhelming that distance feels safer than closeness. When safety leaves a relationship, love doesn't always disappear. Often, it goes underground. What looks like indifference is sometimes longing. What looks like moving on is sometimes avoidance. What looks like silence is sometimes a person fighting conversations in their own head every single day. And once you understand that, the signs we're about to discuss start making a lot more sense. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples think attraction lives in the big moments, the vacations, the anniversaries, the dramatic declarations. But emotional attachment is usually built somewhere else entirely. It's built in ordinary moments that became emotionally significant. Your nervous system doesn't archive facts, it archives feelings. That's why someone can forget what day a conversation happened, but remember exactly how you made them feel during it. Most people in relationships underestimate the power of emotional imprinting. They assume memories fade evenly over time, when in reality, emotionally charged experiences become deeply embedded beneath the surface. Maybe it was a late-night conversation. Maybe it was the way you looked at them when they were struggling. Maybe it was the first time they felt fully accepted. The disconnecting version sounds like this. That was nice. The connecting version sounds like this. I've never felt this understood before. And here's what changes everything. Years later, their brain may not replay the event, but it will replay the feeling. Something inside them quietly whispers, I haven't felt that way with anyone else. And when that happens, you remain emotionally present long after you've become physically absent. This is where it gets really interesting. Most couples only notice someone's value when that person is gone. Not because they're selfish, because the human brain is built on comparison. When you're consistently present, people adapt to your presence. It becomes normal, expected, part of everyday life. Then suddenly, you're gone. And the emotional contrast becomes impossible to ignore. Most people in relationships mistake familiarity for permanence. They assume what exists today will automatically exist tomorrow. But here's what nobody explains. Your absence removes the emotional background noise and reveals what was actually important all along. Imagine someone who used to text you every morning. Then one day, those messages stop. The disconnected reaction? I guess I didn't need those anyway. The real reaction? The silence feels louder than expected. Their mind starts saying, why does my day feel different now? Not because they're weak, not because they're obsessed, because attachment leaves fingerprints. And when those fingerprints disappear, the empty spaces suddenly become visible. That's when someone begins thinking about you in moments they never expected. And this is the one most couples never figure out. Closure is not a conversation. Closure is an emotional experience. Most people assume they need answers, but what they often need is emotional resolution. When that resolution never happens, the mind keeps returning to the relationship, looking for completion. It's like leaving a book unfinished halfway through the final chapter. Your attention keeps drifting back, not because you're stuck, because your brain hates unfinished stories. Most people in relationships carry far more unspoken feelings than they realize. There are things they wanted to say, questions they never asked, and emotions they never fully expressed. Maybe they never apologized. Maybe they never explained themselves. Maybe they never told you how much you mattered. The disconnecting version. Forget it. It doesn't matter. The connecting version. I wish I had said what I really felt. And beneath the surface, a thought keeps repeating. What would have happened if I handled things differently? That's why people often think about someone most intensely after the relationship ends. The story feels incomplete, and incomplete stories are difficult to put down. Not louder conversations, not more chemistry, not another chance encounter, but a forgotten version of themselves. Most couples focus entirely on how they felt about their partner. They rarely consider how they felt about themselves inside the relationship. This matters more than most people realize, because people don't only miss individuals. They miss identities. They miss who they became around certain people. Maybe with you they felt confident. Maybe they felt safe. Maybe they felt emotionally available for the first time in years. Then life moved on. The relationship changed, or ended. And suddenly that version of themselves disappeared too. The disconnecting thought, I miss them. The deeper truth, I miss who I was when I was with them. Their nervous system remembers that state. Their body remembers that safety. And somewhere inside, they wonder if they'll ever feel that way again. That's the shift that turns a person from a memory into a longing. Here's the deepest truth of all. Most couples believe being unforgettable is about being perfect. It's not. Perfect people are forgettable. Real people aren't. What creates lasting connection isn't flawless behavior. It's emotional authenticity. It's being seen, known, felt. Real intimacy isn't like a photograph. It's more like scar tissue. It forms slowly, layer by layer, moment by moment. And once it's there, it becomes part of the story. Most people in relationships spend too much energy trying to appear impressive. But emotional bonds are built when two nervous systems feel safe enough to stop performing. The disconnecting version, trying to be perfect, trying to say the right thing, trying to avoid mistakes. The connecting version, showing up honestly, being vulnerable, being human. Because when someone experiences genuine connection, something in them quietly says, I felt at home there. And that feeling is incredibly difficult to replace. That's when the walls come down. That's when emotional distance starts losing its power. And that's why they can't stop thinking about you. Not because you were perfect, because you were real. So if you've been wondering whether someone is thinking about you right now, remember this. People forget details. They forget dates. They forget conversations. But they rarely forget how someone made them feel. This isn't a checklist. It's an invitation to understand the deeper nature of human connection. When you internalize this, you stop measuring your worth by someone's immediate actions and start recognizing the emotional impact you actually had. You stop chasing proof. You stop needing constant validation. And you begin understanding that real connection leaves traces, long after the moment itself is gone. These aren't tricks for making someone miss you. They're reminders of what happens when two human beings genuinely matter to each other. And if that connection was real, chances are you're living in their thoughts more often than you realize. Because at the end of the day, people don't keep thinking about who impressed them. They keep thinking about who changed them. And the people who change us never truly leave.